Chapter 31. Early the next morning, Velda climbed out of the manhole with a small bag from her boiler room to find Annika already waiting. Her eyes cast over a horizon of fallen concrete giants and rubble as a crimson sunrise spilt over the hill, glossing muddy puddles with heavenly color, painting over holes between broken concrete and twisted steel. Annika's sober expression locked with hers. She'd half expected Velda to run again, to have abandoned them, but she hadn't, not this time. Striding up to them and their battered minivan, Velda jumped in, and they sped off through the outskirts of London. There was much to be done, and not a lot of time. Watching Annika and the handful of others she and Alessandro had scraped together, Velda couldn't help but notice the sense of family between them. Not that they ever used the term. Much as she disapproved of her twin, she couldn't deny Annika had a rare talent for creating that sense of family all around her, no matter the people or situation. As days rolled by, they began drafting videos, trialing their approach and format. It didn't take long for them to begin churning out content, several videos a week, to the decentralized web. They were inspiring, motivating, and brought hope to everyday people who'd lost everything over the past few years of chaos. I'm joined today by ex-Special Branch operative Velda King. Her voice needs no introduction. The interviewer smiled back at Velda. When the troubles broke out, you were introduced to us as the voice of reason. What would you say to the people now, given all that's happened? Velda stared thoughtfully into the camera. I'd say, choose what you want. If it's revenge, we can't help you with that. Those who view themselves as a victim or take the law into their own hands will never prosper. The troubles have taught us as much, but if it's a better life, a better future for your children you're after, now that we can help create. How do you suppose we do that? What are your resources? Velda laughed. We have all the resource we need to make that happen on a global scale, if we work together. Mistakes we can learn from, if we care to. Each one of us has suffered. Each one of us lost something or someone dear in the troubles. But no matter how far forward we move, if you're looking back, you will always exist in that hell. Soak in its pain, revive old troubles, no matter how far removed they are, no matter how many years or generations pass. But if you want a better future, which I believe we do, we move forward, wanting the best for each other, together. Velda sat forward, her interview streamed live on decentralized social media channels, drawing in hundreds of thousands of viewers. How would you propose doing that when there is no trust, where it's every man for himself? Be a woman, she laughed in light of all that had passed, before sobering. Look, hope's crushed, but it's still there. It's alive in each one of us. It's up to us how long we wait, how long we suffer, before we choose to grow. To create the environment, the community that nurtures not only us, but 1,000 generations. The SMC and others say you are destabilizing the order they try to create. Whose order? Theirs, a crime syndicate's, or those of a mercenary group? I'm all for rule of law and fair order, but I do not think any of us believe that is what they are offering. The reporter gave a slow nod. Many would argue they are a necessary evil, for some semblance of order and normality, peace even. History and common sense beg to differ. What's the alternative? People realizing how important they and their local community are. With individual and community responsibility, we can deal with issues at the local level. Put local experts in charge of their respective fields. Together we can rebuild, form a technocracy, and not be dependent on those tyrannical forces, but instead be guided by intelligence and the will of the people. People do not want to keep fighting, let alone take on military forces. Nor do I. But submitting to tyranny does not negate the fight, it only prolongs it. Annika watched the numbers fly up from behind the camera. Over the following months, people watching began to bind together, form real communities again. As months rolled by, Velda's DeFi media campaign spread. Her ideas caught like wildfire, with her talks encouraging people to band together, look after each other, to think for themselves and create communities for their children to grow up in. Together they stood for something better, could see the world they hoped to claim back for their children one day. They began fighting back, sabotaging both the crime syndicates and SMC, burning crops before they fled occupied areas so that those who seized their land had no food or people for labor. Neighboring communities made provisions for refugees fleeing, welcoming them as their own. Hidden away in Annika's tiny London basement, Velda stared into the camera yet again. We outnumber them. This world was made for life and those who cherish it, not for warmongers to carve up and consume. We are those in no man's land, the in-between. We stand together. We are inter. We are the people, for the people, and this is our world. Annika grinned as numbers ran up. Just over 87 million views in a couple of hours. Velda had amassed a following on decentralized social media, giving talks online, engaging with the public, listening to all their concerns as she debated and pressed forward for positive change, for unity, structure, law, and fair order. She became a beacon of hope for people across the world as they translated her talks into many languages. It wasn't long before funds were pouring in from various communities in all manner of ways: gold, silver, Bitcoin, ADA, Doge, you name it. They were able to expand their team little by little as they began to promote the idea of a transparent technocracy, built by the people, for the people. Asterisk. JK's armored 4x4 flew off the road, rolling into a nearby field as a landmine exploded underneath it. He, Curly, Shizzle, and Highwind were sent tumbling about inside like a washing machine before rolling to a halt. Shizzle groaned from where he hung upside down. "Next time, I drive," he muttered as JK cut him loose before helping Curly kick out the back window. Dragging the injured out, they radioed for assistance. Later that evening, they sat in medbay, stem C pods humming away, speeding repair as Reuter sat with them, chewing over the mess they'd faced these past few months. "Get some rest," Dr. Becker's voice cut in. "You'll need it." Her smile carried with it heartfelt sympathy, but instead of heading to bed, Reuter marched into Hobbs's office. He blamed himself for not having pushed the matter sooner. They'd been struggling to hold ground for some time now, and the boys were running on empty. Civilians had destroyed crops and abandoned the land, leaving no food or labor. The only thing they left were landmines, homemade and non-lethal to their heavily armored 4x4s, but enough to cause more than a headache and drain vital resources. "We can't keep on top of it, not if the people are against us." Reuter clicked the door closed and fixed on the tiny man with pinprick eyes hiding behind his sleek glass desk, glancing briefly to Arden, who stood at the bar pouring himself another drink. "You're personable. Win them over." Hobbs returned to the brief in hand. "Not as simple as that, sir." "Charisma running low?" Hobbs mocked, almost hopeful. He'd never liked the guy's popularity, though at times it proved useful. Ideology spreads further and faster. People won't rally behind military might unless they're frightened. Even then, it won't last. "What do you propose?" Arden perked up. "'Cause my good man, your boy Router here makes a valid point. People need a cause to fight for and a face they can love." He eyed Hobbs' disagreeable mug and then his own less than opulent reflection in the glass drinks cabinet, filled with all kinds of spirits. "One they respect or revere, a parent to the nation as it were. Not one to rule, you understand, just one to wave a flag, for us, a mothering sort of figure." "You sound as though you have someone in mind." "Matter of fact, I do." Arden pulled up Velda's projection. "That rogue podcaster?" Hobbs rubbed his brow. "She's the one making all this bloody mess. Then she's aptly positioned to clean it up, wouldn't you say?" Arden retorted cheerfully as he found a dusty bottle of wine hiding at the back of Hobbs' cabinet. "Women belong behind a sink with gloves and an apron," Hobbs muttered as his mouth pressed thin. Arden marveled at the miserable little man, who clearly lacked imagination as well as drive. But then, he thought, having refashioned the role and attire to his satisfaction, soapy bubbles, rubber gloves, and a lace apron that barely covered. "She's a woman, an idealist." Special Branch seemed to approve. "She's pretty and articulate. Of course they'd approve her as a poster girl. Still doesn't mean there's anything practical going on upstairs." With 500 million followers on X in just a few months, Arden straightened and began to pour himself a glass of Chateau Lafite. "I'd argue it's of little relevance what is going on upstairs. All that matters is what the people see. Together, we will have the funding and the arms to implement anything. She can hand us the people, stabilize the land we take. With her on side, they will welcome us with open arms. Hobbs's hands rubbed the back of his balding head as it sank toward the table. She'd never sign up to it. We are everything she's fighting against. So we give her what she wants. Arden shrugged, watching as all coiled tension in Hobbs sprang loose, jumping to his feet, fist plowing into the table. We are not putting her in charge. I don't believe she wants that. We give her what she wants, the illusion of it, the illusion of doing some good and living a very, very comfortable life in the process. I don't like it. She doesn't seem reasonable or malleable. Arden shrugged. Baby steps, my man. No sense holding land we can't keep. Even my pockets aren't that deep. Our best bet is to secure her before the Volkov do. Besides, soak anyone long enough in your bathwater, you'll find they become pliable or drown.